What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So we're gonna start with our boy Malik Washington, right? He was a draft pick last year, and he was drafted to basically be our third receiver, and to maybe one day supplant Tyreek or Jalen, depending on how their contracts and injuries go. First year, he was okay, not crazy stat wise. He had 225 yards receiving and like 25 yards rushing. So legitimately like 250 yards total for the year. Now some of that is not on him. He wasn't involved in all the packages. Also, Jonnu Smith balled last year. And that was not on anybody's bingo card because we didn't know. So Jonnu got a lot of love, and then of course Tua got hurt. And when Tua got hurt, the offense just right. So what he did show was some flashes, right? He did punt and kickoff return as well. He showed a certain amount of quickness and suddenness. And when he did get offensive burn, he did show a capacity to get open, which is like the number one thing for a receiver, and of course catching. But then he would be kind of hard to tackle after the catch. Like he's not a particularly physical guy. He's probably the smallest receiver we have. But he's a little shifty, a little quick, and again, he's young and cheap. Now, we signed Nick Westbrook in the offseason, presumably to be a number three receiver. He's bigger, downfield threat, bigger body. We don't have a receiver like that, so it's a natural idea that he would be our third receiver because he would actually be filling a need that the other two receivers are not filling. But what I'm reading is him and Malik, it can go either way, which I believe means that they'll both be featured in different packages, right? Malik is more 15 yards and in, across the middle, in breaking out, breaking routes, which is typically how we run our normal offense. So you can pretty much play Malik anytime we have a regular kind of offensive set. He could just be the third receiver. Nick Westbrook will be a better receiver for long yardage situations, for goal line packages, because he's never really been a great possession receiver. He really is more of a big play guy. But I don't think that's because he can't be a possession every down kind of guy. He just played in Tennessee with bad quarterbacks. So I think Nick Westbrook can actually be really good. But I like the idea that they're both going in for the job because if Jonnu's technically our third receiver, like third receiving option, if you want to put it that way, then both these guys are vying for like the fourth receiver option, which means you're not going to get more than 3 to 5 pass attempts a game, which is why I thought Nick would be the smarter play because if he's a bigger play guy, then you may only get 2 or 3 deep balls a game, but 30, 40 yards of reception adds up. But I like the idea of Malik being involved because again, he gets open. We need in our offense for it to work successfully. Ideally, the line is blocking, the running game is doing pretty good. Tua's getting the ball out quick, which means the faster you get open, the faster the ball can get out. If you're a receiver, you can't get off coverage and you're slow. Like Malik is a really good he's a tactician or a technician. He's very good, quick feet, choppy, good route runner. Show the numbers, get the hands up. That's what Tua looks for out of receivers, which is why Barrios and Craycraft was so good for him because they're not super elite, big physical people. What they are is, boom, give me the ball. What we don't need is a bunch of flashy, over the top wide receiver action. So I think because Malik was in the offense last year, that helps a lot. You can see like his eyes were like, ooh, when he got on the field a few times because it was still a big idea for him to be on the field. But I think he probably has the inside track to start, but it really depends on where the offense is going to go, and this is foreshadowing, because if we have a bigger receiver on the field, that typically leads to better blocking situations as well. So even though Nick is more known as going downfield and getting the ball, he's also just a bigger body. So if we need a receiver to block, which we do for screens, which we do for some of our running plays, then I could see their splits kind of being split 50-50. But either way, if he's doing punt and kick return again, which from what I can tell he is, then he can impact the team in a lot of different ways. I would think a good season for him, if he did 225 last year, I would think 400 this year receiving. Like, and that's not a lot. It's not a lot of yards. He's talking, what was that, 40 yards a game? It's something like that. Like, it's 30-ish yards a game. I don't like that's not a crazy number of yards. Um, like 2, 3 catches, 30 yards a game, that kind of thing. That's like that's I think a decent number for him, given how I think the ball's gonna be spread around, given how much I think we're gonna run. If he gets 400 yards receiving, Most of his runs were like on just sweeps. He would just come in motion, we'd just hand him the ball, and he would just go around the edge. We didn't like run real plays with him. So, 25 last year, that can be 40 to 50. I don't expect a giant boom. What I want to see is him be really good on a kick return game because he can set us our offense up for good field position, and that could be where his real value is. Now, speaking of the offense, we were not great last year. There's no other way to say it. The OC Frank Smith talked about it, and it just wasn't what it needed to be. Our offense points per game dropped off almost 10 points a game from 2023 to 2024. Now, again, Tua didn't play in a lot of those games. But even the games that Tua played, we're still in that 23, 24 point a game range, which would still be like a 5 point drop off. That's almost a touchdown difference from year to year with essentially the same personnel. Not good, especially when your defense is middle to okay. Now, if your defense is killing it, 24 points a game should get you into the playoffs. If your defense is kind of you got to score some points. And he talked about it recently about how the last year offense was and kind of what the idea is going to the next year. He said, I think the result of the season was disappointing for where we wanted to go. There's positives littered throughout, but I think ultimately when you look at the past, you really study it, look at it, and use as far as each present day as your motivation. I think for us right now, we're starting over and basically going back to basics and making sure we know them inside and out to start a good season. Now, most of us know that Coach McDaniel is from the Kyle Shanahan tree. The Kyle Shanahan tree is actually based in running principles. I know our offense is mostly, we think of it as fast receivers, but the offense is actually based on running. If you look at San Francisco, Brock Purdy got all the money, but when Christian McCaffrey was healthy, that's when they were at their best. It's actually a run-based attack. The run sets everything up. The motion is the fake to the running back. It's the pitch to the running back. It's the running back doing different motion things. Everything starts with a running game. Our offense actually isn't different. And when we were good 2 years ago on offense, like really good, Mostert was amazing. HN was explosive. And then we hit you over the top with passing. It was really that Miami's the only team that's in the top 5 in passing and running. Yeah, because when you're breaking 70-yard runs, defenses get scared. And when they get scared, they bring guys in the box. When they bring guys in the box, you can throw over the box. And we just hitting them all over left. But you have to have 2 people back for Tyreek. So you can't really stop the run because you're already like in like a kind of a shell type coverage anyway. You only have 7 guys in the box. We got 8 guys blocking. We got you. So that's how the offense was built to be made. I think last year we got away from the run. We didn't commit to it. One of my biggest pet peeves is 3rd, 4th, and short, and us just not being able to just muscle up and get a yard. I cannot tell you the number of times I would see 3rd and 1. I would see 4 receivers, and them like, oh, we're gonna throw a pass, or let's throw a reverse and then do a pitch. I'm like, fam, can we not just run the ball for 1 yard? And we could not do it. And again, the guards weren't great. Our quarterback run threat outside of Huntley wasn't really there. We weren't good enough at that point of attack. Like we got some in goal like fullback dives to make it happen, but that just shows me that we never felt at any point last year we could depend on our run. That's what it showed me. 3rd, 4th, and short. If you don't feel like, hey, we can go run and get this money, you don't trust your running game. And that's what the offense should be built on. That's what the offense is built on, and we kind of got away from that. You became a cute passing team, a little too cute with screens, a little too many like we do this false pitch all the time. I know the play works when it works. When it doesn't work, it is a devastating play. Basically, the quarterback fakes like he's handing the ball off to one side, and then the running back goes to the other side. So there's no running back actually where he is. The whole idea is to get a linebacker's eyesight where the quarterback is, but the running back's on this side, and then you pitch it this way. But if the linebacker doesn't bite out in the fake, then basically you just have a linebacker running free, and we lose yards on the play. So the play either gets 4 or 5 yards or like loses 4. There's no, it's a big high risk, high reward when you could just put the ball in the stomach, pull it out, and make a play. It's whatever. Coach McDaniel's a genius. I'm not a coach. I'm just saying I saw it a lot last year. So I think when Coach Smith is talking about getting back to basics, it's the trenches. It always is. You got to block up front. People got to stay on their blocks. Running backs hit the hole where it's supposed to be. Don't be a hero. Don't bounce it outside because you weigh 200 pounds and you don't want to get hit. Do your job. Just do your job. And if you do that part well, everything else opens up. I said I wanted Devon to get 1,200 yards. A lot of people came back at me. I think it's more than possible. He's arguably the fastest running back in the league. And if we block a little bit, then I think he'll be fine. Now we bring in Ollie Gordon. We got Jalen Wright. There's a lot of guys that can run the ball. We should be good enough on the running game, to set everything else up. Jonnu Smith in a slot is devastating. He was actually a pretty good blocker last year as well. But Jonnu being on the field means that he's taking linebackers up the field with his routes. You got two of the, 6 or 7 fastest receivers in the league. And then we got Nick Westbrook-Akine on the. We got guys everywhere. There's no reason where we should be able to run the ball just because of the other guys on the outside. Get back to those basics in the middle, in the trenches. Everything else opens up. Now we're doing our feature matchup this week, and this is going to be Week 15 against the Cincinnati Bengals. This game is at home. Sunday Night Football, so another primetime game. This is exactly a week after the Pittsburgh game. So we're going to Pittsburgh late in the year. Everybody's watching Monday night. Then 6 days later, you got Bengals at home. Back-to-back primetime games. Again, the whole world gets to watch you. We know the threat Cincinnati has. They got the man. Number 1 receiver, Triple Crown winner on the outside. We don't have anybody to block him. I assume we're going to double him. T. Higgins just got paid. Arguably the second best number 2, if not the best number 2, because you can throw him up there with guys like Devontae and there's a lot of guys who are really good. I mean, Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle's a really good number 2, but T. Higgins is arguably the second. He's the best number 2 that you can make. He's getting paid like he's the best. So you got both those guys on the outside, and of course you got Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow last year, we all know, was just throwing. He was just slinging rocks all year. Guys are not open. He throwing them open like he was sublime. I think their defense is going to be worse this year than it was last year, which means I expect a lot of Joe Burrow throwing. That is not good for us because I do not trust our secondary at all right now. We don't even know who our number 1 corner is. That can't be good. But the beauty of this is that the matchup is in Week 15, which means we have basically the whole season to figure out the secondary. I'm assuming at some point we'll pick up a veteran cornerback. It's going to happen. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't have any intel. It's going to happen. Once we do, then we'll build the team around that. We got a lot of young guys, a lot of 1 year, trying to prove it contracts. This game is right before the playoff push, assuming we're in that position. You get to go up against the best receiver in the league as of last year. I know Jefferson fans are out there, but Jamar is the best receiver right now. You got Big T. Higgins, and you got Joe Burrow. What an opportunity for the defense to really show if you can keep them somewhat in check. I'm talking 27 and under points. We can score 28 on their defense. I don't expect anything from Cincy on defense. They have still not signed their first round pick on defense. That's what organization we got going on over there. It's in shambles. If we can keep them to 27, I believe we can score 28 and get the win. Now, keeping them 27, difficult. I assume they'll be making their own playoff push. But what an opportunity, though. You get them at home. No weather implications. Maybe rain is Miami. But you get to play against the best passing quarterback last year, the best receiver, and one of the other top 10 receivers all at the same time, all at home. It'll be a fun matchup. I mean, I think we may not be favored in the matchup, but it's a game we certainly can win. Cincinnati didn't even make the playoffs last year. As good as Joe Burrow was, Jamar Chase broke every record. They didn't make the playoffs. So them scoring a lot of points doesn't mean that they're a team that can't be beat. It just means you got to do your job on defense at some point. We need probably 3 to 4 defensive stops. And that could be field goals. I think a stop is getting a field goal. If they drive 10 times in a game and 4 drives of field goals, 2 are touchdowns, and the rest are no, hey, we can live with that. 23, 26 points, I'll take that all day. Once they get into the 30s, it gets a little dicey. It gets a little dicey. 34 points, 37, 40, like, oof, it's a lot of points. But looking forward to the matchup. What a chance to match up against the best. And if we can beat that team at home, I think it bodes well for us going forward. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes, subscribes, reshares, all that good stuff. We appreciate all that. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.